Hello, thank you for joining me today. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about one of the Chinese medicine concepts, and that one is the organ systems. So this can get a little confusing for people, especially if you have a lot of biomedical knowledge, because you might hear a Chinese medicine doctor reference something as part of an organ, and you might say, wait a minute, that's not what that organ does. Don't they know their science? But what's really interesting is when you look at this ancient idea, the way the Chinese spoke of things, you have to remember that some of these concepts go back hundreds, if not thousands of years. And when you look at the organs in this case, what they're actually talking about is not just an organ itself, but actually an entire realm or system of energy that may relate to that organ. So for example, what I'm going to offer to you is the idea of the kidneys. The kidneys in Chinese medicine are not just the concept of the kidneys, these two units that are in your lower back themselves, but it includes both the physical function of the kidneys as we know them to be nowadays, as well as some other things, such as some of perhaps the function of the adrenals, some of the different hormones that the kidneys and those adrenals may actually influence or regulate. There's actually an emotion associated with each one of the organs. So for the concept of the kidneys, that emotion would be fear. So this might start to get a little confusing because, again, if you just know the kidneys as this device in your back, these two different organs that help filter things and pass them on through the ureters to the bladder so that you can let go of urine, it might not make a lot of sense why we would say something like fear can injure the kidneys. But when you understand it in the way that the Chinese traditionally did, that being a system of energy governed by the kidneys, including things like hormones like cortisol or adrenaline and some of the function of those adrenal glands, which literally sit right on top of the kidneys, it starts to make a little more sense. Surely, if someone has a lot of fear, they might be releasing epinephrine or norepinephrine. They might be releasing higher levels of cortisol, a major stress hormone, and that fear might initially excite them to take action, to get out of a place where they're in danger. But over long periods of time, we know from even modern research and modern studies that high levels of cortisol, high levels of these stress hormones can cause inflammation in your system, can do all sorts of damage. And sure enough, it starts to mimic patterns that we refer to as kidney imbalance patterns, which may be exacerbated or even caused by that root of an emotion in Chinese medicine. So that starts to speak a little bit about these concepts of the emotion, of the organs, and the way that the Chinese were speaking of these organs in a little bit different light than maybe you're used to, but it actually is very pragmatic once you understand the concepts with which they were using.